Okay, so the question, how do we understand words at a deeper meaning or deeper level? This is your sentence, right? So everyone wrote this, right? And then added something, whatever it was, right? So can anyone tell me, how do you, like, if you see a word in a sentence, in a book, in a comic, on TV, on your phone, how do you understand it, like the deeper root of it? Anyone, what did you write? The tone, right? So if you're angry, like if you get an angry tone, someone is like texting and there's a deeper meaning, the tone could be like anger or it could be happy, right? What else? My friend.
We can look for some word combinations that might help us.
Yeah, so context. What's the words in front of it and behind it that help you understand that word, right? I think that's a great idea.
Also, we can use some cognates on our main language.
So what's that? What would that look like?
Like looking for what that word will mean, like in Spanish.
In Spanish.
Or your main language.
It's pretty similar, right? So what's a word that you all see in Spanish that's very similar to English word? Different. Is it difícil? Diferente.
Yeah.
So you can make that connection pretty simple.
Yeah.
So the reason I came in here, I wanted to kind of give you an idea. We have, you all, eventually will be taking, has anyone heard of the STAR test? Big test at the end of the year. And sometimes you're gonna have to look for words like at a deeper level on that test. So I wanted to give you some strategies, let's just say, to kind of help get past those. And also, I'm not trying to make anybody's life more difficult. I just want you all to use these just so you can, if you're reading for fun, learn the material. Because I'm doing a project to be principal one day, and I wanted to help you all the most because it's hard. It's the hardest for to learn English in high school. So I dedicated a project just for you all. Okay. So I'm gonna basically take some of what we have created already, and then I added my own spin to it. So the learning target will be able to analyze context to distinguish between. Anyone remember this word from yesterday? Started with a D. Denotative and connotative meanings. So that's the goal, is to try to figure out the difference between the two today. How we're going to be identifying and analyzing words with vague meanings. Vague in the sense is something that if you see it, you're not sure what it means. It could mean this or that. I'm not sure. So we're going to look deeper into that. And why? In order to analyze how the words connect culturally and emotionally. So we talked about culture already, right? Certain Spanish words connect with the English words. And then we talked about tone, which is emotion. Anger, sadness can mean two different things. Okay? So there will be an assignment. We'll get to that in a second. But the actual objectives, the what, we'll be able to use pre-reading supports and strategies that you've already been using all year. So I met with everybody, and I kind of got an idea of how you all do that. So that's the what. How, use and reuse basic and academic language, and why, in order to show comprehension through analytical skills. So these two words, they're big words, but if we break them down, they're simple. Comprehension in the English term, yes. Analytical is to look at a word and find out
what its meaning.
What its meaning. So those are two very important skills by, when you get to a senior, you'll have to be able to do. So when you go to a job, university, college, you have to have those two. It's very important. So we try to help students like you all now as freshmen, sophomore, juniors, so when you're a senior, you have those skills. Because it's hard to gain them if you don't have them. So there is a video. Before we watch the video, I'm going to give you something to work on and think about pre-wise. Like, before the video, let's think about this. So connotation versus denotation. If you just think about it, this is how I would do it if I was trying to learn the word. Look at the D, right? Look at right here, dictionary. Denotation means the dictionary word for it.
Scientific meaning.
The scientific meaning. So if you open the dictionary and you looked up a word, denotation, that's what the word actually means. Connotation is a different C, right? It's more about like the emotion. So certain words can mean two things. The actual word, if you looked it up, and then there's a flip side to it. What's the emotion behind it? Because it could mean something else. That's the hard thing about English language. If you're talking to someone, you might hear the dictionary version, and you think that's what they mean, but it tricks you, because sometimes there's words that mean both. It can mean something else. Okay? So there's a video. Let me play it for you. Hopefully, my speaker's loud enough because I didn't connect the speaker. See it.
Get up to 70% off trees at Michael's. All Christmas trees are on sale now. Plus, get them all. Today's lesson is going to be all about denotation of to remember is denotation equals dictionary. Or
D for dictionary, right?
the denotation of a word or phrase with the literal meaning.
Literal meaning or the scientific meaning.
There is an elephant in the room. In this picture, we have a literal elephant in the room. That would be most of us have probably heard the saying, there is an elephant in the room. So you would only use this actual line. Let's move on to connotation. Connotation is the way a word or phrase makes you feel. Some words make us feel haunted, others make us basically, connotation is all about the feeling that it makes. I remember connotation. How I feel. Look at an example instead. Word old. We're going to make a connotation scale here, and we're going to label it negative, positive, and neutral right in the middle. Word old has various synonyms. Some of them have different connotations. For example, we have the word mature, we have the word decrepit, and aged.
But like
The word
seven.
decrepit can be harsh and rude. It definitely has more of a negative connotation. Mature, on the other hand, is more positive. It might represent somebody as wise or skilled. Aged falls more neutral because we don't associate it with a positive or a negative connotation. Let's look at one more example. The word young. We have inexperienced, blooming, and new. These synonyms have different. So let's talk about
just simple, can you just draw, write this word, the equal sign, and draw this in your journal, right below it. And the same right here. This word connotation, the equal sign, and the face. Because a lot of ways to remember words is through pictures. So, denotation dictionary, pretty simple. Connotation is about how the word is feels. So that was a great example with the young. Sometimes young can be like, oh, they're on the job first time, they're too young to do the more experience or make them more money. Sometimes young can be seen as they're blooming, they have potential. And some, it's just neutral, it's in the middle. So this can be tricky when you're reading. When you see the word young, you might think of only one word, but it could be any of the three. So you have to, like we did earlier, use the before, the in the middle, like pretext.
Yeah.
When you're reading, you have to use
The context around it.
the context around it. Good. Anyone still need this up?
Are you gonna do that, Chloe?
Sure, we can do that. So to summarize, dictionary, denotation. Connotation, I got this cool little thing here, is the feelings or ideas, right? So take an example, another example for feelings, the connotation. When you see the word home, some people can look at the dictionary word of home and just know that it's a place where someone lives. But if you look at the feelings of home, home makes you feel with memories, right?
Yeah.
Like we have holiday coming up, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, those are memories that add to the feeling of home. It means where you live, but it also helps you think about like you're comfortable, you have your friends, your family at your home. There's safety, there's warmth, right? So when you look at the word home, you just see a picture, but look at this word of home. This picture of home. Two different meanings. Another kind of example is heart, right? When you heard the word heart, you think of the actual scientific term. Like if you go and study in science or in medical, they have your heart, right? Boom, 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 boom. And it pumps your blood. But there's also the emotion behind the word, the connotative version, which would be heart in sense of, anyone know another way of looking at the word heart? Love. He had mi amor, right? He has my heart. Oh. And there's also like the phrase, if I can say this for you, that player, if you like in football, right? Or soccer, that player plays with a lot of heart and hustle. What does that mean when they say he plays with a lot of heart?
He plays with a lot of effort. He puts effort in.
Determination, like he puts his whole heart into it to try to get better. Or if you're in a band, like they play with a lot of heart, like they play with a lot of focus. So there's two different ways to look at the word heart. That's a great example, okay? Some others, we heard about chicken, right? Popo? The actual bird. Is the bird, when you hear chicken, is the bird connotative or what? denotative. You heard the word chicken. Is it the dictionary version, or is it, if you think the emotional, the connotative? You hear the word chicken. The denotative version, the actual bird for chicken. But you ever been playing and someone calls you a chicken because you're too scared to do it, right? That's the connotative version. So when they say, "Oh, jump over that big rock," and they call you a chicken, now you're talking about emotion, right? Instead of the dictionary version, which is a type of bird. So let's go to this. This activity is very simple. I'm going to do it with you. And we're actually going to use an example we just talked about to write in there. Get that there. And I'm going to actually collect these part of my project to see how well this lesson was for my own purpose. Because I collected, I'm going to research it. So if you can do the best you can, it helps me in my practice, in my program. So let's think about this. Today is November 14th. I can put that on there, November 14th. I can write. Can I write it? All right. November 14th. And I've broken this down. This is what I call chunking. I've broken it down into smaller steps. So don't worry about the other things below this assignment. We're only going to focus on this top part. The word heart. You can write that in there in red. I wrote it here. Can you write it in there? So I chose the word, but you all are going to actually do the written part. So I've given you the example. I want you to try to explain it. So in your own words, the denotative definition of heart, try to tell me what you think that means for heart. Just this first box right here. When I say give me the denotative definition of heart, right? What do you think? There's no wrong answers. You just write what you think. Be honest, it's not going to be graded. I'm not going to, do anything with it. It's just for me to see. So if I ask you the denotative definition of heart, what do you think you're going to put in that box?
You're in charge of pumping blood through your system and life.
You wrote all that?
All right.
Okay. Remember, we're going. If you need to review, remember, I need to find the denotative version of heart. So one of these is denotative. Whatever you think that is going to go in this box. And then the same with connotative. When we look at heart, the connotative, what is that going to look like in this box here? You can talk to each other if you need help. Don't just sit there in silence, work together.
El denotative es como lo que crees que te va a decir el diccionario cuando tú busques palabras. Cuando tú busques corazón en el diccionario, es lo que tú crees que te va a aparecer, porque va en denotative en la primera.
Don't be scared either. Just write what you think. Don't be nervous to write. I'm not gonna, say anything. I'm gonna get it at the end because there's two parts. If you gotta draw it, you gotta draw it. That's fine. But at least write something. Don't leave it blank. The hardest part is to actually try and do it, you know? So, we need to look up this word. Yeah, okay.
Sir,
Yes.
they come right in Spanish.
What do you think? You can allow it, but you have to draw a picture. For you? Yeah. So that would look like.
I helped her.
So what part do you want to write in Spanish?
No, I mean, she wrote the.
Oh. What was it in Spanish? The word. The word.
No, she wrote the whole thing.
Oh, okay. In Spanish, what does that say?
Yeah.
That's good. Then the second part, if you haven't done it, the connotative, the emotion of heart. What do you think that means when I say the connotative version of heart? So we know that if you didn't know, denotative is the dictionary. The actual word means heart, means something. What do you think? Connotative. There's emotion behind this. So write what you think.
Happy.
The happiness.
Is that favorite language?
What?
The favorite language?
Exactly.
Love, passion.
Love, passion. So you can write any of those right here. See this? See, we have it. We're starting to get it, you know? If you have like a special friend, you know, that's your heart. You know, you love them. Do they have this, or they don't have it like a paper version, right? Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna have to pull it up because there's one here that I was gonna do for spirit and sin. Where you think they'll need it? See. No, body. Okay, good. Now, connotative is the emotion. So when you think about heart, we know that it's an organ. Boom, boom, boom. What else can it mean?
One. What do you think when you hear the word heart?
What do you think of when you hear the word heart? I like that. Love. Passion.
The organ that is in charge to pump your blood.
When you pump your blood.
Sir, when you write happiness,
Happiness.
what I does it? What I do it? Like the one like this?
Have it. The I is the one. It's not. You're thinking of what? I'm thinking of it. The I with the dot on the top.
Oh, so it's with this is the one with the dot on top.
Yeah. Have it. Have itness.
Okay.
Yeah. This is good. So it's okay if you're still working. Let me continue to give you some more kind of practice with this, because it's a hard skill to learn. It will take some time. It's not going to be instant. You won't remember right away. So we just practice little at a little. So if we take away certain words and we fill it in using sentence stems, it would look something like this. And you can say it in your head or you can say it out loud. But it's easy to remember what the blank meaning of word is, because blank and dictionary both begin with what? Dictionary and denotative begin with D. So that's like a way to, if you do like something like this to help you study, and you take out, parts, it will help you kind of train your brain to fill in those parts. It's easy to remember the meaning of blank because connection, right? And blank both start with the letter blank, right? So connection starts with C, and connotative starts with C. It's kind of the easiest way to remember the two, just for right now, because this is new. All right. What is this? In Espanol, what's... So everyone knows it, but only one person knows snake in English. Okay, that's funny. So snake. We know that snake is the actual slither, right?
Like that.
But some people, if you think of snake, I don't know how that translates to Spanish, but like in English, there's a connotative version of snake that could mean what?
Man.
Bad person. That they're
Oh no, we were.
because the snake kind of slithers around, right?
We got the same Spanish.
What?
The like what you saying, like to refer to a bad person.
Yeah.
We got it in Spanish.
So in English, some people say, "Oh, that guy's a snake," or "That girl's a snake," right? And it could mean that that person it's like deceitful, like because if you look at the eyes of a snake, sometimes you don't trust it, right? So that's another example. Snake itself, the actual definition is a long reptile but sometimes sin can be like you're not trustworthy person. All right, so from yesterday, we read a story. Did we not? It looked like this. Okay. I know you all read it. You just don't want to tell me. It's okay. There's a story. It was by Gandhi called "The Story of My Experiments with Truth." Now, there's 2 words. I'm only going to do 2 today that have connotative and denotative meanings. So on your paper, go to the bottom 2. Bottom 2 words. What's the first word there? Spin. So this can work. In the story itself, he says, we become impatient to be able to spin our own yarn. So when we think of spin, the denotative version is to what?
Rotate?
Spin around, right?
Yeah.
When in this story, he's spinning yarn like to make a cloth. It's these little fabrics, you have to spin them together and you're not locked. So the denotative version of spin is to spin around. So write that there. Or draw it. On your paper, under the second box. The second box. Right here in this box here. For the bottom part right here. Spin. Right? Well, you write the word to spin around, right?
Yeah. I think it's spinning, so wait, on the other part?
Well, what do we know that spin? The dictionary word means?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Pues spin aquí. Aquí pone spin around. S-P
Like
around.
when you're driving in the rain and you hit water, it spins your car, right? Sometimes, I don't know. So you're gonna write that, if you're confused, the second box, denotative, on the bottom here, write what you think spin means.
La N y la G es arrow. UND. So what do we do now?
So that's denotative. Now connotative of spin, this one's gonna be new. It's something you might have never heard about, but
Might be easy.
when we think of connotative, sometimes there's an English phrase like, let me think,
But spin?
it's like that person put a positive spin on something. So there's a connotative meaning where they try to make a story and they spin it to make it seem different. So they change the story in their favor. You see this a lot with like the president. He will say that on the news, so this happened, it's not so bad because of this. He's trying to spin the story to make it look better.
So they're trying to make it see the positive side.
The positive side. So there's a way in English when someone says he tried to put a positive spin on something, they're trying to change a negative story to a positive story. So if I were you, under that connotative meaning, we're trying to, in that box there, we'll try to, if you can write, like,
Flip the table.
yeah, well, not flip the table, but flip the story. If you can write that. If it's hard to write that in English, write it in Spanish, but you're trying to change the story from negative to positive. That's what spin and can mean connotatively.
Alright. If it is the key thing, the story. Como historia.
acá abajo. Está abajo. Yes, story, no history.
This one might be a little more challenging, so I understand. Take your time.
Which one are we doing now?
Spin.
Oh, who's on spin?
After spin, we have one more.
Oh.
So there's one more word. This one is interesting too in the reading here. So I found the words for you, but eventually on the start test you will have to do it on your own. But there's a word here. She was a widow, but her spirit knew no bounds. So in the reading, they talk about a spirit. A spirit is another example of a word that has two meanings. When you think about spirit, we just had a holiday that come up that has spirits in it. Anybody know?
Dia de los Muertos.
Exactly. Dia de los Muertos. So the spirit can mean what?
Like the.
The way that you feel.
Ooh, the ghost, right?
Yeah.
So can you write that for connotative? When we talk about spirit, you can mean a ghost, right? So you can either draw it or write it for connotative.
Spirit.
That's the connection. That's the emotional side of the word spirit. But there's also, if you spin it, there's also a dictionary. The denotative word of spirit, it has to do with here and here. So when you look at the dictionary word, it's about the actual word says the part of the person with their emotions, their character. So in the reading that I found, it says here, her spirit knew no bounds. So if I were you, I would put denotative, something about the person's emotions, their character. So when we talk about spirit, like if someone has a good spirit, they're a good-hearted person inside. Their whole spirit is good. They try to be a good person. They try to do right things. That's what spirit means. But the connotative could mean also ghost, or it could mean like, that's how it's used in the sentence.
Yeah, it depends because it has like that means like it holds the person's feeling. Right now, something like being a religious way.
Exactly, religious way. So, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the spirit could be religious too. Dang, that's a good point. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to write that down. Yeah. So those are two very challenging things you did. Now I don't expect you today, but by tomorrow I'll come by on Monday to collect it. But there is a reflection, a little exit ticket. I want to see and I gave you all a copy. Do they have folders in this class? You have folders or no for papers? Okay. So I'll give you a copy. If you can just fold it like this and put it where we've been working, okay? And the same with that. Fold it in half so you don't lose it, because I'll need these back. So fold these two in half and put it where we've been working like this, okay? But tomorrow or by Monday, we're gonna have to try to do this exit ticket on the bottom here. It says, what word of all those that we talked about? We talked about heart, we talked about spirit, we talked about snake. What word had a surprising denotative meaning that you made you look in a new way? So a word that had a surprising denotative meaning that made you look in a new way was blank. Because blank, and that's where you would write it. And it can be any of the words we talked about today. So by then, we can you can turn that back into me, and I can see how this was. So fold those two and put it in your folder so you don't lose it. This is just the same thing that you just saw. Fold it, put it in your folder. Or not your
Oh, I
folder.
actually did the thing.
Can you put this in? Okay. Don't lose that paper, because I'm gonna come back Monday to come back.
Pero igual, yo seguro viene mañana. Él dijo que estaría mañana.
Yes, any questions? No? Maybe?